For the longest time, Sonic EXE games were walk to the right simulator. We all know this. It was a quick spook and that was pretty much it, if you could call it that. But as time went on, for whatever reason, this concept evolved. I mean, it for sure had some growing pains, but fans saw potential in the idea that Sonic could have a darker story. Sonic Frontiers, in my opinion, is a great example of this. Or the Metal Virus, to all my comic fans out there. Sonic.exe has become a subgenre within the community and can be so much more than what it originally was. There could be different stories told by different people and different games that showcase storytelling in an EXE type style. Most people know Sonic Saves Robloxia. I already talked about that game. But today, we're going to talk about a game that I believe shows what a Sonic.exe can be and explore the lore that resides within it. I mean, at the end of the day, these are still Sonic fan projects, just with a little bit of mixed of horror and gore. Let's jump into one of the most visually appealing Sonic EXE games I have seen. Sonic.exe Wrath of Mobius is a game made by Lolo Bird, and this is actually the first game they ever made. This shocked me because, I mean, look at this! It's not the perfect game, it does have bugs, but this is mostly due to the time crunch they had in order to submit it to the Luigi Kid EXE Challenge. It's also a demo, but it has a decent amount of content. I would say if you want to explore everything, it has about an hour and 30 minutes or so of content. Now, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but if you like Sonic EXE Spirits of Hell, you are going to love this game. The game opens with an attention screen, basically warning you that this game is going to be, well, a Sonic EXE game. Keep in mind, as I talk about it, there will be a few sections with flashing images. Following this, we have a cute animation of Sonic being startled by the Sonic Team logo, and a Luigi Kid sprite along with Lolo Bird's own OC. Everything goes so smooth so far, but you really tell the game's quality when the logo screen shows up. Sonic drops down from the top of the screen, and it seems to be more of a modern Sonic as opposed to our usual classic Sonic. The animation here is really smooth, and I'll try my best to find different words to use because I end up sounding like a broken record. But with the start like this, we can already tell it looks pretty damn good. After this title screen, we get the real title screen, which has a pretty good theme going on in the background with the Stardust Speedway motif, but it's still a remix. Before starting the game, I wanted to point out that for both the option menu and extra menu, there's something that happens. Going to the options menu, we get an animation that has Sonic walking to the cliffside looking off in the distance. Now, there is a bug where, for some reason, you have to toggle voice acting off, then on again in order to actually get it to work. But there is indeed voice acting. It'll likely be fixed at some point, but it was worth noting in case you didn't know. I'll get to the extra menu after we explore the main demo, so let's dive into that. When starting, we're met with an option to do a tutorial, which if you're a little baby, I guess you could do. I am a little baby, actually. And chances you will too, because this game has actual gameplay, with a few different mechanics. I find it really cool that we get a Sonic Unleashed level to start us off, and right off the bat, you could tell this game looks clean. From Sonic's run animation to his jump, everything looks so good. And while we're here, I might as well go over the gameplay mechanics we have, explained by another Sonic. This Sonic casually throws shade at some other Sonic EXE games and says Sonic has a large moveset. But if you think about it, he just said Sonic.exe inside of a Sonic.exe game. This reminds me of something.
I'm not like the other EXEs.
The game combines all of the elements of modern Sonic and classic Sonic we know and love. We're talking boost, homing attack, wall jumping, double jump, and they even have it to where Sonic can drop dash. Kinda. The momentum in this game feels pretty good, and when we get to the first Sonic level, you'll be able to use his momentum however you want to. It's pretty neat. But let's be real here, it wouldn't be an EXE game if we didn't play as Tails. Once reaching the tutorial checkpoint, we switch characters and learn Tails' mechanic. Tails has an arm cannon that can charge up with a little meter here, and it is actually pretty useful later. You could also drop bombs on badniks, and thankfully you can cancel flying. A strange thing to point out, but You would be surprised at how common it is for Tails to be in freefall and the spooky hedgehog is able to get you because of bad game design. Spirits of hell. Though there isn't much to his tutorial since that's all he really does. When hitting the third checkpoint, we switch to Knuckles. Now, this is the Tails demo, so it's not fully done yet. This is just a taste of what Knuckles does. Basically, he has his usual arsenal, but now he punches the ground really hard and rocks come up. That's it? Sonic has homing attack, Tails has a frickin' arm cannon, and Knuckles gets a rock? That's so lame! I mean, he can punch too. Obviously, he's Knuckles. And if you time it with the rock, you can hit it up into the air or hit the rock at someone. And I'm no expert, but I bet getting hit with a boulder would probably hurt. Just a guess though. There isn't much to Knuckles just yet, as this mostly focuses on Sonic and Tails. After the tutorial, the real bulk of the game starts. Wrath of Mobius is primarily a story game, but mixes in gameplay pretty well. I'll tell you the story as it's happening. The first cutscene we see is explaining the events leading up to when the game takes place. And while a lot of EXE games take place during the Genesis era, this game takes place somewhere right after Sonic Forces. The Resistance was able to push back Eggman's empire. Despite this, it seems Eggman has been successful in terrorizing everywhere. This even goes on to mention the Metal Virus, which is from the Sonic comics. I won't go into what the Metal Virus was, but no, it wasn't pretty. Weeks after those events, Eggman would start scheming once again, leading us here. Eggman appears to be outrunning Sonic. This actually happens more than you think it would. And while Sonic isn't going full speed, this is still pretty impressive. This guy's speed stat should be maxed out. They have their usual banter before Eggman makes a sick jump into his Eggmobile. I gotta say, the voice acting here is pretty good. I would say that the voice acting is pretty convincing for the character. So, well done, Wrath of Mobius. The first stage starts with a classic loading screen, akin to more modern Sonic games before loading in. Lost Jungle is a pretty good first level, having enemies to burst through with the burst and a few loops. I really like using the homing attack in this game. The way that the screen shakes and Sonic does a cool little pose, I honestly love. Nothing really happens during this level, it just helps you get used to Sonic's movement. The next cutscene has Sonic destroying some machines, and one of the sound effects used is a Smash Bros. Ultimate reference. And if you know my history, you know I love that game. Eggman escapes into Grand Metropolis, and we actually get a different art style here. A pretty neat detail. Sonic calls up Tails for backup, and we're on our way to the next level. Each stage isn't really that long, but there is platforming that could be a little tricky if you're trying to style and brute force your way through, like me. I died here more times than I'm proud of because I wanted to spike the dev and run through my own way. The results? Less than ideal. It will be somewhat easy for people, but you'll have to be careful if you want to just hold right and win. After beating the level, we meet up with our best friend Eggman again, and he introduces us to the new Sonic heroes. This is Team Metal, and it consists of Metal Knuckles, Tails Doll, and Metal Sonic. This is gonna be one hell of a fight because, oh wait, I get it, Sonic Heroes. Very clever, Eggman. Alright, the first battle is, oh god, I'm getting PTSD from Tails Doll and Whisper of Soul. I don't know if I'll ever release a video for that, but just know this boss fight has been my sleep paralysis demon for a very long time. This Tails Doll fight is actually kind of fun. Each metal variant offers something different, and you gotta mix up your attacks to dodge them. Tails Doll can drop bombs that you can reflect back to him, shoot lasers, and create these little shockwaves you gotta dodge. I like that there's a hit counter to measure their health, instead of you just having to guess blindly and hope to God you're doing some damage. I feel like my attacks are actually connecting and I'm doing damage, unlike in this stupid. Metal Knuckles is a pretty cool inclusion, and he has a homing attack that locks onto you and you gotta dodge it. He also tosses rocks at you like normal Knuckles. Oh, and it does hurt getting hit by rocks. Though, I gotta say, it's pretty forgiving when it comes to being hit. Sonic is able to regain his rings pretty easily, and it's not hard to get back on your feet. You could still die, but it's not unfair. He also drops flames you have to dodge, but that's it. He's probably the easiest phase out of the three, though the last one is a little more difficult. He shoots these beams you have to go through, and if you don't move accordingly, you'll get hit. He also launches little energy balls that hit you, but you can power through and homing attack him. Gotta say, been loving that. So far, it's just been a pretty decent Sonic fan game. But don't worry, viewer, things will take a turn for the worse very, soon. For now, Sonic defeats the mechanical bunch, and Eggman pulls up with the blast from the past, as it's called. Knuckles and Tails pull up right after, and the actual Sonic heroes are about to destroy this thing. Get ready for another boss fight. Oh, wait, never mind. I mean, let's be real here. We already knew how this was gonna go. And so, the heroes have done it once again. They stop the evil Eggman, and to celebrate, they go to Uncle Chuck's. This place is brimming with Sonic OCs and a bunch of Sonic characters, both from the comics and the games. I'll leave it to you guys to stop and pause it to see who you can spot. And another Smash reference. And there's also this. Honestly, not sure what's happening here. Aside from that, Sonic is being told to slow down on the chili dogs, and he shares a moment with Uncle Chuck. And soon after, Sally joins up with the group. She talks about how Eggman will inevitably come back, but they should celebrate their victory tonight and to remember to rise against the villainy. To never lose hope. Though, this is about to get a lot harder considering what happens. We cut to a beautiful moonlit sky as the camera pans to what appears to be a Fox Mobian. The mysterious Mobian goes on to express how, with Sonic's power, he could break apart the Freedom Fighters. He sees someone standing by a capsule. This guy is working with Eggman, setting up a bunch of fake capsules for some reason. The poor guy gets absolutely destroyed by our big bad here. I'll be referring to this guy as Aazil from now on. He takes place as the Sonic EXE in the story. While we don't know too much about his past, some of his motives are pretty clear. But what I find interesting is he's already Mobian, as in before hunting Sonic and his friends, he used to be in the planet, though we'll get to that. For now, we should focus on the plot. Aazil claims he will be Mobius' salvation, and that he will somehow end the suffering of Mobius. But first, he will need to take out the blue blur. Speaking of which, Sonic is caught napping in Green Hill, getting a call from Tails. Tails tells us that there have been some strange signals on his scanner, causing it to go haywire, and it's crawling with badniks, and we're tasked with checking it out. Wouldn't be a Sonic EXE game without Green Hill, and that's the next level. One thing I like about this game is there's a timer that sits at the top, so for all you speedrunners out there, you might get some fun out of this. Honestly, the way the screen shakes when you do a drop dash, and the way it moves from boost is really satisfying. After zooming through, we get to the next cutscene. Sonic is a little confused because, as we saw, there weren't that many badniks. Tails is also confused because that's just what it said. There's an animal capsule nearby, but Tails says to keep an eye out. But before he's able to run to it, he gets picked up and carried as Eggman throws his badniks at him like he was planning to do. And guess what? I hope you like QuickTime events because it's in this section, but I ended up dying because one of them was the V button, and I could tell that that was put there to throw you off. Sonic takes a few hits from the robots as they throw out coordinated attacks, but he locks the fuck in and does a sick kick spin to end the battle. Way past cool, Sonic. He then calls Tails, but for some reason, that doesn't work out. After this fails, he curses? Whoa there, Sonic, cussing his shadows thing.
Where's that damn fourth Chaos Emerald?
Sonic goes to free the birds, but as you and I both know, instead of a bunch of cute flickies coming out, Sonic gets his ass kicked and has his body stolen. Yikes, buddy, that's rough. Though, after being possessed, Sonic pulls a Yuji Todori and breaks free of it for a moment. He thinks that running away from his demons is the answer, but Aazil just takes his body back anyway. Though he does appear to be a little shocked at how resilient Sonic is. He then proceeds to do the most outrageous shit I've ever seen. You see this cute little critter here? And you see how Aazil is looking at this thing? What do you, the viewer, think is gonna happen? He tears its head off and eats it. Bro, that was so unnecessary for him to do, and do it in Sonic's body is mad disrespectful. The guy already eats chili dogs, but like, this is a raw pig's head. It really goes to show you just how evil this guy is, and it made my jaw drop. It gets worse. The poor guy is taking a walk, and he sees Sonic and gets excited. Seems like he's a fan, and really looks up to him. So, Aazil, being the stand-up guy he is, shoves the rest of the pig into this guy's mouth, pulls a Dio time stop, and we get the sick animation of Aazil tearing off his jaw and fucking kicking him. Then he laughs about it. That's just kind of a dick move. Who even does that? Though, the Eggman encounter goes a little differently. See, in games like Spirits of Hell, Aazil has his own motive and a goal after taking Sonic's body. Instead of outright trying to kill Ivo when he arrives, he instead talks to him and tries to work with him. Now, I'm not saying that's the case with Spirits of Hell, but that's just a lot of Sonic EXE games, alright? I know I'm coming at Spirits of Hell and Whisper of Soul a lot. They're not terrible. At first, Eggman thinks Sonic has lost his mind, but realizes pretty quick that Sonic doesn't usually talk with a demonic voice, and doesn't look like a literal devil? Aazil offers to help Eggman build his empire, and in return, Eggman helps him search for an ancient artifact that was lost long ago. He doesn't give too much detail on it. Obviously, Eggman is a little skeptical and wonders what would happen if his usefulness ran out to Aazil. Aazil argues that their goals align because he just beat his arch nemesis to a pulp, that being enough to prove he won't do that. Personally, this would be sketchy as hell. I mean, look at this guy. But at the same time, Eggman has had very few victories, so he takes Aazil up on the offer. The Sonic EXE takes a much bloodier appearance and introduces himself as Aazil. I know, take a shot every time I say Aazil, you will die. And now, the true Sonic.exe game begins. Aazil takes the Mobius body and Sonic's body with him as he and the Doctor depart. And we are shown the next two victims. Tails is flying with some Shadow Raiders before getting a call from another team who's having some trouble. So they're forced to land the tornado. Meanwhile, Aazil and the Doctor are about to make a hard push against them, and that's what leads us to Cyan City. This is the first Tails level, and it's pretty fun. Tails moves moderately fast, and hitting enemies is fun because with some of them you could hit them and watch them fly and explode. And it actually feels like I can control the character. And any mistake I make is mostly my own doing. Other Sonic EXE games make you feel like you forfeit control, and they're mostly just helpless victims that can't do anything. And while that type of story can work, it can also get pretty repetitive. You'll see that Tails is able to fight back later, but for now, damn, Aazil just Shoryuken his ass! This knocks him out cold, and with a little bit of fairy dust, Tails is out for the count. We wake up in Emerald Hill Zone, except this time there are faces in the background, just as I remembered it. Sometimes there's a glitch where you spawn in the floor. It's not like it soft locks you, but I thought it was funny. Tails moves slower now because, you know, he's a little scared. And for some reason, Fang is here? Dude laughs at you in the most comically evil way I've heard. It's okay, Tails. At least you're relevant. We passed a goalpost that shows a really messed up Tails, but I like the sprite moves instead of it being a stale image. There's lots of small details like that too. Tails gets a blast from the past, and by blast, I mean he's met with a reunion of these guys. If you remember, these are Tails' bullies from Sonic Origin. I like that this game includes characters you don't usually see, and they even turn into this weird spider monster you have to fight. The boss fight isn't too bad, but it does require some patience. You gotta time your attacks and jumps, and while also blasting this guy with your arm cannon. Though one thing that will make people uncomfortable are these little tail head things this guy places down. Hit him 16th time and Tails wakes up in a dream. Though he doesn't get long to wake up before Sonic runs up. Sonic says something fishy is going on, and Tails says something about seeing some creatures. Sonic proceeds to gaslight the fuck out of him and then asked if he can fly the tornado. We know the drill. Sonic blasts off and Tails heads to Angel Island. Upon landing, everything is as it should be. But there's a teleporter that takes Tails to Hidden Palace. There's a small cutscene that has a teleporter ring and Tails. Details like this is pretty cool to see. Upon getting to Hidden Palace, Tails begins to take notice on how Knuckles left a note on Infinite. He feels like he's been a coward and thinks that he could do much better. This is a sign of his mental decline, just as Aazil once. Tails attempts to lock in and starts searching for Knuckles, but notices Angel Island was suddenly on fire. Upon going there, he gets jumped. Aazil taunts him a little, but Tails is able to escape and zooms off. And a bomb goes off! And the rest of the stage is on fire now, which may seem familiar to Sonic EXE fans. Instead of playing tag, despite Sonic EXE saying it's hide and seek, we actually do that here. After Aazil kicks Tails down, it's up to you to play hide and seek. That's right, and even if you don't hide, you don't die right away. At the top it says to hide, and you have 10 seconds to find these bushes scattered throughout the map. As long as Tails is darkened in the background, Then you're hiding and Aazil won't find you. The best strategy here is to hide near a cliff, as this cuts how long he's on screen for. If you don't hide, he starts dashing after you. He's pretty annoying to deal with when he's like this, but if you charge up your cannon, you're able to hit him and he becomes stunned. If you run away from him, he'll stay gone until the words hide appear again. While I like the helpless nature of some horror games, it's realistic that Tails would put up some sort of a fight, especially around the Sonic Forces era, so this was a neat detail. One cool thing I like about this is Aazil will actually start learning your habits if you take too long. Let's say you hide in the same spot, or you're hiding too often. He will start seeing you and getting used to your patterns. Hiding becomes less effective. Yes, you have a fighting chance, but if you take too long, that slips away. This was a really cool detail people may not have noticed, and basically gives you a reason to try and hurry to finish the stage. He even does an animation that, when he sees you, makes you go, oh shit. You also need to manage your flight stamina, and when you're flying up, the stage intentionally makes it to where you have to be patient and will cut it very close to you falling. With a bit of patience and tenacity, we reach the end, finding Sonic pretty tired out. Tails is confused on how Sonic got up here without a tornado. Then he pops like a balloon, and out comes a newborn Aazil. Yep, that was a sentence I just said. Sometimes I wonder what it would be like if my neighbors heard me say these things. One thing I will say about this game is a bit of a small critique. The volume for the voices in the background is a little quiet. I do want the voices to be more upfront, and the background can overlap that, or the voices get too loud. However, I've also had an infinite number of audio issues, so I can understand how this happens. It's still cool this game has voice acting and all, and it's not just for select lines, most of the game has voice acting. Anyway, Tails gets chased by Aazil like in the classic Sonic EXE game, and when he catches up, Tails puts up a fight instead of tripping and crying like a baby, though he would have been better off doing that, because our big bad proceeds to punt Tails and spike him like a volleyball, scratch his eyes, then kick him in the face, only to leave him in the sewers with whoever this guy is. Now, I will say, on the topic of voice acting, everyone in this game does a pretty convincing job. But as a quick side note, the Tails voice actor is pretty damn good.
Yeah. God, everything hurts. How long was I out for?
This guy brings up a crocodile that's been lurking in the waters. And there's only one crocodile that's considered an old friend to Tails. Aazil got Vector, and he can apparently smell fear. This guy gets devoured like it's nothing, and our other friend shows up to taunt us once more. Aazil says that he set Vector free, and the rest of Tails' friends will join him. From this point, we can start speculating his motives. Sure, this guy is pure evil and enjoys the hunt, but it's clear he believes you shouldn't have free will. My theory is, if you have emotions, then you're suffering, and in a way, Aazil wants to stop that. By taking away free will, he takes away people's terrible thoughts. He also gets sheep who will follow his every word, and he's worshipped just how he wants. Though, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. Aazil goes after Knuckles, and we have to go through the deep sewage with the hungry crocodile. This level has a sound meter, and the more you walk, the more sound you make. Things like flying, the start of spin dashing, walking, all combine to the sound. If it reaches all the way to red, Vector appears. Sometimes it's ideal to let him hit you, because after he does, you get a bit of iframes. Also, as a tip, if you're moving in a ball, it doesn't make any noise, so you could try to speedrun the level like this. There's also an underwater section where swimming won't make any noise, and your health isn't determined by rings, but by how many times you get hit and this little Tails meter here. Just be patient with some approaches. Time it right, and you'll make your way through. We jump through the ring, and Tails survived the nightmare for now. He just has to reach his lab, and hopefully he can get fixed up. We get a cutscene of Knuckles chilling by the Master Emerald, up until he feels something nearby, a Chaos Emerald. Upon finding it, he receives a message from Sally. Tails' radar has gone offline, and Knuckles is tasked with going to check it out, with Sally promising to watch the island while he's gone. I'm sure this will go well. Knuckles flies to Starlight Zone, and as he flies in the background, old Team Chaotix watches him. Both Mighty and Espio seem to have been taken over by Aazil, and they're given a mission to kill him. The two want want to talk to him first so that he could see the truth. And it sounds to me like they want to indoctrinate him into a cult. Because, I mean, let's be real. That's what this is. I do find it interesting, though, as Mighty says he hopes it doesn't result in a fight. So they likely have some of their old personality, but their views are heavily warped. With them heading towards Knuckles, we get the good ending. Well, as good as the good ending can be. Aazil congratulates us and takes us to the past to show us something. The kid and his parent are playing together, and while all seems well, I think we all know what's going on here. The kid wants to play hide and seek, but the person who's seeking just so happens to be, well, not the kid's parent. Not sure how Aazil didn't see him here, unless he did and he's just messing with the kid, which is likely the case. The kid gets up and tries to leave, but the door is locked. Aazil threatens him, and it looks like the kid escapes. Truth be told, I have no idea what this has to do with the story, but it does show you a little bit of Aazil's willingness to hurt anyone. And that's the end of the demo, or at least the mainline stuff. There's a lot of cool Easter eggs and additional content I think a lot of people could have missed. For example, there's a bad ending. It's basically the evil hedgehog telling you that you've got to save Tails in order to get the extra cutscene, essentially earning your right for extra content. It's also worth mentioning that right from the beginning, you get a level select at the top left of the screen in the menu, which is really great because some games, Whisper of Soul, make you have to play the level first, but it's really easy to go back to a specific level. Let's explore the extras menu. I won't read every description or tell you everything in the extra menu, mostly because this video is likely long enough. But I did want to mention that this included some cool stuff. The fact that there's a little area here where you can explore your options is pretty cool. There's even a biography section that talks about each character and their abilities, except for Aazil. His is written in Morse code, and for anyone curious, it translates to, "You won't be needing this information, scum." Wow. Thanks, dude. It's alright. I think I already got your story figured out. As I've mentioned before, my theory is this guy used to be an important figure in Mobius, or maybe he was born into a wrong household. Aazil seems to hate people who fight for free will. Perhaps he suffered a lot in the past, and in order to make himself feel bigger and suffering, he'll enslave everyone and have them worship him. He's a narcissist, through and through. He loves to toy with people because it makes him feel powerful. More will be revealed in time. That's just my guess for the character. In the extras menu, you can also find some scrapped content. This game used to be on a different game engine. There was an entirely different take on the character before it became what it is today. In fact, I believe Aazil went through 5 or 6 different designs. Going further, there's a fan art section. Pretty cool artwork here. There's also the hidden flesh. It says it's not available in this version, and honestly, I'm a little curious to find out what the hell that means. Okay, I talked about the extra menus, so what are some things you may have missed? Similar to other games like Spirits of Hell, there are game over menus depending on where you die in game. Each game over menu has a unique animation if you choose to let the timer run out, or if you choose to get up. In some cases, there are cutscenes that play out if you choose to lose. I'll show them to you now, so you won't have to hunt for them. Starting with what happens when you lose against Team Metal. And, if you're like me, you probably lost the QTE part as well. You'll notice there's this little exclamation mark right before Robot blasts Sonic in the face. I like the little game over celebration as if it's a good thing you lost.
Game over, yeah!
Next up is Tails when he gives up in Cyan City. Sonic deadass just cuts off his head from his body and does a pretty sick pose. I know this is Aazil, but seeing Sonic brutally kill Tails is definitely a sight. Tails! I told you not to eat my last chili dog! Ah! This is one of the ones that has a cutscene after, and it's basically Aazil choosing this guy as another victim. The leader of the wolf pack says that there will be another hero to rise up and oppose Aazil, but he's having none of that. He hits him with the one-liner and kills him. Yikes, 2 game over screens for 1. The next loss is against Split, the weird spider creature. I like this one because it shows Split inching forward to you as the timer counts down, though the unexpected happens. That thing is just a distraction. Instead, if you lose, Aazil will appear behind the fox, rip off his tails, and kick him. Man, this guy loves to kick the shit out of Tails. He then zooms off and we get a small cutscene. He places his hand on his head and snaps it, like the 2011 X game. It even has a 2011 text. Pretty cool. This next one has a little bit of lore significance. This happens when you choose to give up Infernal Fireland. I think some people for sure missed this one. One question I had on my mind was, how do Chaos Emeralds, or the Master Emerald, react to Aazil? In this animation, we actually get a bit of an answer to that. He goes to try and harness the Master Emerald's power, and seems like he's familiar with the older Echidna tribe. He seems to be a little surprised it's still around. Upon trying to force out its power, he's rejected. No matter how hard he tries, his incantation doesn't seem to work on it. Though, he speaks in a language I'm not familiar with. This gives us a little bit of insight into his past and how familiar he is with Mobian culture. But we still got a little more secrets to explore. In Deep Sewage, Tails drowns deep in the dirty water, and soon after, only pieces come up. I also saw a mustache here with his remains, and I can't unsee it. Though, this is another one with the cutscene. Aazil is sitting here, looking off into the distance, talking about how Mobians have grown weak and soft. He's literally the old man shaking his fist at the sky meme. He says their lives are better off corrupted, serving a higher purpose. This kind of plays into my theory. He does mention how they were much worse, and that's the part we won't find out until later. Whoever they were is a mystery. The next secret is against Split, and it only happens if you run out of lives in this boss fight specifically. Then it triggers a special cutscene. For some reason, a messed up version of Eggman is here, along with Sonic and Mechasonic, which again was a pretty awesome inclusion. Oh, and as a quick thing, you could see a messed up version of Sonic and Tails in the clouds and Aazil in the stars. The Sonic and Tails is a reference to the Sonic 2 start screen, and I thought that was a neat detail. You could definitely tell this game was made by a Sonic fan. The screen fades to black as the two Sonics clash, and we're brought to Sonic waking Tails up. And while we're at it, Emerald Hill is filled with a bunch of Easter eggs. Exploring a little, we find a TV that has this happen. Oh, flashing lights warning.
No matter what you do, you will end up like the rest of us.
That was Tails.eps. I don't know much about him, but this was a pretty interesting find. Hanging around, we also have these guys. They kind of look like raisins. A lot of what's around here are references to something, whether that be the dev's friends OCs or the dev's OCs himself, and a lot of characters from the comics. If you go back enough in Emerald Hill, you can get an additional death scene with Tails getting pinned by a spike as Aazil slowly walks forward. He literally eats Tails' face, and Tails clings to life with everything he has. What's cool about this death scene is we get a perspective change and a bit of a different art style. Aazil says he's going to go after Knuckles and leaves Tails to die. Also, in Emerald Hill, we fly up and find a messed up Cream who grabs Tails by the throat, and Sally randomly joins the fun as well. One small detail I picked up on was the phrase unworthy of kindness and unworthy of fairness, and I thought that was odd phrasing. Until I realized, oh, that's another Sonic EXE reference! Yes, viewer, it does call back to the kind and fair level in Sonic.exe. Which one, you may ask? Yes, Cream and Sally mess with Tails' mentality before ripping his heart out. Goddamn. Alright, viewer. We only got a couple more, so bear with me. In the sewers, we explore and find a red ring that takes us to Oil Ocean. Unfortunately for Tails, the red ring isn't usually a good sign. I mean, can't blame the guy. He couldn't see it coming. Get it? Because this is Oil Ocean? Yeah, I'll just put the fries in the bag now. Aazil grabs Tails by the throat. Tails begs for mercy, but we all know what Aazil is about. Tails hopelessly tries to say Sonic will stop him, blah blah blah, though funny enough he does let go of Tails for like a minute. Aazil says things will be different this time, which confused me because it sounds like they may have encountered this guy before. I mean, Was there a time before where he tried to stop them? Azazel swipes at Tails and blood gushes out. And while he starts to bleed, Azazel takes Tails by the throat and picks him up, going on a true villain speech. He makes his motives known to the dying fox, as we get some pretty sick art. He wishes to plunge the world into chaos, to make it suffer and become like him. He goes on to say Tails is only alive because fear keeps him alive. This is probably one of the coolest things in the game, and sadly, people will miss out on it. But that's why I'm here today. You're welcome, viewer. With one final bite, Azazel kills Tails and sets Oil Ocean in flames. Alright, next route. The blue ring. You would think that choosing a blue ring would be good. You go into what I'm guessing is a pool of blood and Vector eats you. With the longest roar I have ever heard. But that is the extent of all the Easter eggs, and that is the full demo of Wrath of Mobius. Sonic.exe Wrath of Mobius isn't perfect, but I think it's a step in the right direction for Sonic EXE games. A new era of Sonic fan games that take what the bloody-eyed blue blur failed to do at first and try to spin it and make it better, preferably by people who are decent. Roblox games like Outcome Memories and the Disaster Reborn showcase that you can have fun with the genre, and games like Sonic Saves Robloxia and Wrath of Mobius show there could be potential here. This is a step in the right direction, and hopefully more games start to adapt a similar style, with their own spin on it to keep people guessing. That's all I got today. Subscribe, and remember, stay freaky.
And I'm still here, and always will be part of you.